The transparency tool lets you apply transparency gradients across selected objects. Now it works in exactly the same way as the fill tool, but with the fill tool you're working on colour gradients. With the transparency tool you're purely working on levels of transparency. In this example here, this ear on this character, we're going to apply a transparency gradient across it. So we'll go to the transparency tool and we'll drag from this point to this point. So I'll just do that. And there you can see the transparency tapers off from fully opaque to fully transparent, and you get that kind of fade off of effect, which is quite powerful. So what I can do, I can redefine that path at any point in time. If I'm not quite happy with that original, I can redraw or reposition by dragging these end stops around. Now they're selectable, so I can select that end and move that one. I can select that end and move that one. Now what I'll also be able to do is to completely redefine the path, and this can be outside the object, so you can see that there, it's not even on the object itself, or it can be partially on the object or fully extended across the object and right the way up to the very top here. So I'll just bring that back to roughly where I want it, because I wanted to show you how this works with at these end stops. So this particular end stop, it's fully opaque, and I can see that by going to the Colour Studio, and you can see that the opacity is set to 100%. If I tap on the other end of the end stop, you see the opacity is set to 0%. That is, it's 100% transparent. So I can adjust these, and I can make this more opaque or less opaque. And I can do the same at the other end by selection of the end stop. You can see that's become a little bit more transparent there. Now you'd also be able to change the gradient type. Up to now, all you've seen is the default linear gradient type, which is created by dragging across, dragging a finger across the page. But you can choose different other gradient types, including elliptical, radial, choose conical, and you can come back to none as well. So really these different types are best when they're used on particular objects, like circles for radial, elliptical for ellipses, and conical for cones. What you'd also be able to do, if we just come back here to draw another gradient, transparency gradient, is I can reverse the direction by just tapping that button at the very bottom, and I can also rotate it as well by 90 degrees.